Today is Friday, Parashat Balak. We're learning from the Chok L'Israel, the Musar for today. Al Ya'amod Adam im melamdei tinokot. Person should not stand and talk with the teachers of children. Pen yevatlem bidvarav. Since by talking to them, he's going to be causing them to neglect their work. Tzeulumad me'Abba Chilkiah v'albered Choni HaMagel. Should learn from Abba Chilkiah, was the grandson of Choni HaMagel. שלא רצה להשיב במלאכה אפילו שלום. He didn't even want to answer even shalom when he was occupied in the work of someone. כדאיתה בתענית, like we learn in מסכת תענית, כשנתנו לו שלום זוגה דרבנן לא השיב שלום. That when two sages came, they had a request from him, they found him, he was working in the field, and they said, Shalom, good morning, how are you? He didn't want to answer them. Why? Because he was employed by someone on an hourly fee or a daily fee, and he didn't want to take away from the time that he's obligated to provide his employer. By even answering these people, he was not willing to do that. And more so when a person is involved in teaching children Torah, that you should be very careful not to disturb them, not to come and speak with the teacher, because that would take him away from the work that he is involved with at a time, which is to teach the kids Torah. And more so when it involves the work of heaven. And the pasuk says, cursed is the one who does the work of heaven deviously. So the person responsible is involved in teaching Torah to the kids. Don't bother him, don't come and talk to him to take him away from that activity, and he himself should not allow himself to get involved in those discussions, since he's at the moment involved in work, and the work of heaven, which is teaching Torah. The Musar goes on to say, Mi she'eno tzarech labiryot v'lokeh mehem, eno nifta min ha'olam ad sheyitztarech. Anyone who is not in need of charity from others, but nonetheless he takes from them, he pretends that he is a needy person, and he takes from the charity box when he should not, because he really can afford to pay his expenses, but he still sort of like puts himself on the shoulders of the charity of the community. Such a person will not depart from this world without actually needing and truthfully needing charity. So he pretended he needed charity. Well, eventually he will really need charity, and he'll have to be supported. The same thing would be applicable to someone who pretends to be lame or blind in order to beg and ask for charity. He will not leave the world until he actually happens to be in that situation of becoming either a blind person or becoming a person who's lame, because he pretended, he cheated people, he deviously acted to get people to support him, and pretending that he was a handicapped person when he wasn't. Eventually he will be in that situation that he pretended to be before he goes from this world. This was from the Musar of today. Just a couple of words about the parasha of this week. Bilam had the intention to curse the Jewish people, but every time he wanted to say a curse, only a blessing came out. But from the blessing that he gave, you know what would have been the curse that he really meant to give. One of the blessings was, Am levadad yishkon u'bagoyim lo yitchashav. The Jewish people dwells alone and is not reckoned or counted amongst the nations of the world. So he really praises the Jewish people, that we're really unique people. It's like oil and water, that oil and water don't mix. Oil always goes on top. And the Jewish people, one of the great qualities is that we don't assimilate and we don't mix with other. We marry amongst ourselves, we keep our traditions. We're a nation that is on its own. What he meant to say is to curse them, that they should assimilate and they should become totally mixed and disappear within the nations. But the blessing is the exact opposite. There's another explanation also given by Rabbi Michel Twersky, which is Bagoyim lo itchashav. It is not accounted or reckoned amongst the nations. The Jewish people has a different and a higher level set of standards to be held accountable to. Our level of ethics, our level of morality, our level of the way that we act towards others, our level of compassion is not to be counted like the rest of the nations of the world, because we have a higher level of these values. That's another explanation of the pasuk. And finally, just to remind you that there is a fast day of the 17th of Tammuz. The 17th actually is tomorrow Shabbat, but we do not fast of Shabbat, so in deference of Shabbat, we postpone it to Sunday. In Los Angeles, the fast will start at 4:33 a.m. and conclude at 8:40 a.m. And to remember that the fast is not an end unto itself, it's just a way to put us in the right mindset to become humble and to realize what are the sins that brought about the destruction of the temple, that brought about the calamities that happened in history on that day, and to be motivated to put ourselves into the right track, to do teshuvah, and to do what it is that we can do to improve ourselves. So it's a kind of the fast is a way to give us the opportunity to put us in the right mindset to do a moral accounting of what it is that we need to improve. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen, and Shabbat Shalom.